You feel lonely because you have not cultivated a strong and sure relationship with yourself. You see, when you're alone, you're actually never alone because you're with yourself. And when we haven't cultivated a strong and sure relationship with ourselves, essentially what happens is we don't enjoy the time that we have with ourselves because we're not pouring into ourselves in a way that we would normally pour into someone that we're actually spending time with. So when we choose to flip the way that we look at being alone to, I'm actually with myself, I'm spending time with myself, things start to shift. You get to ask yourself, okay, well, what do I want to do with myself today? What do I feel like doing? What do I feel like working on? Do I feel like learning? Do I feel like chilling? Do I feel like playing? How do I want to spend my time right now with myself? How do I want to build the relationship with myself? How do I want to get to know myself? You see, we are trained in a way to look outside of ourselves for all of the answers throughout the whole of our Western society. And because of that, we have forgotten that we have all of the answers within us, and we have forgotten how to truly connect to ourselves and our power and our inner knowing and guidance and intuition and all of that stuff. And this is typically why people are not living the life that they truly desire. This is typically why people don't love themselves. This is typically why people stay in relationships that are not good for themselves, that are toxic and unhealthy and manipulative and emotionally abusive or physically abusive, because they haven't first cultivated a strong and sure relationship with themselves, and they haven't given themselves the love that they so need, want, require, and most importantly, deserve. Now, when we get into this feeling of feeling alone and wanting other people to fill whatever void that we have within us, we really get to ask ourselves whether the relationships that we are in are actually good for us. Because I found throughout my experience that when I felt alone, what I would do is I would seek external relationships to make me feel better, to make me feel whole. And typically these relationships were not good relationships. They didn't make me feel safe. They didn't make me feel good. They didn't make me feel nourished. I was disrespected a lot of the time. And the reason being is because I didn't have a strong relationship with myself. So ultimately, the relationships that I had on the external were simply a reflection of the relationship that I had with myself. So until I really started spending time in solitude, not alone, not lonely, I was in solitude. I was choosing to spend time in solitude to really get to know myself. And as soon as I really started to treat myself in the way that I so wanted, that I needed, that I required, that I deserved, once I started doing that for myself, I started to see where people in my life were not treating me in the way that I wanted, needed, and required. And ultimately, this allowed me to clean up the relationships that I had by either setting boundaries with the people in my life and or removing myself if they didn't respect my boundaries and if they didn't respect what I wanted and needed and required out of my relationships. And yes, that caused people to fall away and move away from my field. However, the way that I personally look at it is, for me and the life it is that I desire to create and the relationships that I desire to cultivate, it wasn't a loss. It was actually it made space. It made space for the right people to come along. And those people that fell away, they served a purpose in my life at one point or another, and for the direction in which I desired to go, because they didn't respect my boundaries and respect what I wanted, needed and required, they ultimately fell away. And most of the time, it didn't happen through an argument. We didn't necessarily fall out. We just grew apart because we weren't in alignment anymore. And this is what you're going to find. The more that you choose to work on your internal environment, and the more that you choose to walk the path of self-discovery and self-actualization, and the more you come back to and stand in your power, what's going to happen is certain people that are not ready to move and groove and grow with you are going to vibrate out of your field. This is just a normal thing. What we get to remember is when they vibrate out, that makes space for the right people to come in. And then when we have the relationships that do come in from the people that vibrate out, they're going to be more nourishing, more refreshing, more kind, more loving than the relationships that we previously had. But what we need to remember is throughout this journey, there is going to be a period of solitude, and this period of solitude is what enables us to build a strong and sure relationship with ourselves, that when we are alone, we don't actually feel alone. We feel nourished, and we feel whole, and we feel strong, and we feel sure, and we feel confident because we've built a strong and sure relationship with ourselves. So if you regularly feel alone and lonely when you are feeling alone, what you get to ask yourself is, what do I get to do to build a strong and sure relationship with myself? How do I get to look after myself today? How do I get to enjoy myself today? What do I get to see in myself today? How do I get to explore myself today? Because unless you truly see yourself, unless you truly love yourself, unless you truly respect yourself, honor yourself, understand yourself, accept yourself, you're not going to be able to lead by example when it comes to the way in which people treat you. And you're not going to be able to set boundaries effectively in respects to what you want, need and require out of your life and out of your relationships. So if you find that you're feeling lonely, it's simply because you haven't built a strong and sure relationship with yourself. And that is the most important thing that you need to focus on right now. It's not looking for friends, it's not looking for partners, it's not looking for anyone to fill this void that you feel within you. Only you can fill that void. No external experience, whether that be relationships, drink, drugs, food, sex, gambling, whatever that may be, no external experience outside of you is going to fill the void that you feel within you. Only you can fill that void. And the way that you fill that void is by going within, is by listening to yourself, is by asking yourself the right questions, is by doing the things that serve you in all of the ways. And yes, that means being disciplined and committed and dedicated and loving and kind to yourself and the future that you desire to create. However, what's the alternative? Because if we choose easy, we live a hard life. And if we choose hard, we live an easy life. And the choice of quote unquote hard is the choice of responsibility, accountability, ownership, honesty, transparency, looking in the mirror and admitting to ourselves where we are not pulling our weight when it comes to the relationship with ourselves and when it comes to the life it is that we desire to create. It's very easy to blame external sources, people, things, governments, families, whatever. It's very easy to blame everything outside of us. Yet what does that do? That gives our power away. That gives our power away. And the whole point is to hold on to our power and cultivate our power and expand on our power. And the way that we do that is by looking in the mirror and being honest with ourselves. And being honest where we're letting ourselves down, and being honest where we're not treating ourselves correctly and where we are disrespecting ourselves. So you're not lonely. You're with yourself always. You are always with someone. You are with yourself. You are not lonely. You simply haven't built a loving relationship with yourself. And if you want to truly meet people deeply, if you want to create strong, sure, intimate, deep, nourishing relationships, whether that be with your family, with your friends, with your intimate partner, the only way that you're going to create that is by creating that with yourself. You can only meet people as deeply as you have met yourself. And if you have not met yourself in the deepness, darkness, shadows, if you haven't explored all of that, if you haven't found the power in your pain, you're not going to be able to go deep with other people. The relationships that you're going to build are going to be shallow, surface level bullshit in my eyes. I call it bullshit because what's the point in living a shallow life? What's the point is in living on the surface? The fun is in the depths. If you think about the ocean, so many interesting things in the depths of the ocean. On the surface, there's hardly anything. And when we're living on the surface, if you're thinking about the ocean, there's hardly anything. There's waves and ripples and all of that. But when you're only living on the surface, you cannot explore the heights of the sky, the heights of yourself, the light. It's really important that you go into the depths of your darkness and explore that, so you can explore that and ultimately be able to explore that with other people as well and get into that feeling with other people. The most important relationship that you're ever going to build is the relationship with yourself. You are your only life partner, no one else. You might choose to spend life with someone, but they're not your true life partner. You can escape them. You can go in the other room. You can go on holiday and escape them. You cannot escape yourself. You cannot escape yourself. So make it your lifelong commitment to continually build upon and expand upon a nourishing, loving, kind relationship with yourself. I love you so much. If you desire to explore working with me in any capacity, check the link below and you can check out my other socials, the marketplace that I have created for the spaces of the Growth Shift community. And if you desire to work with me closely, either one-on-one or in a group mastermind setting, then you can message me directly and apply directly. I manage all of my social media at the moment at time of posting this. So yeah, I will get back to you. And if I don't manage my social media by the time you watch this, you'll speak to someone in my team. I love you so very much. You've got this. You've got this. You're so powerful. You're so amazing. You have so much within you. And the relationships that you desire and the life that you desire is there waiting for you to go after it. And it first starts with yourself. Really building a strong and sure sense of belief and knowing in why you came here and how powerful you are and what it is that you have to offer and your beauty and your brilliance, and really diving deep into the depths to find your medicine and magic, because you have so much medicine and magic within you to make a really beautiful difference in this world in your own unique way. And I'm here to remind you, I'm here to bring you back to your remembrance, I'm here to bring you back to your knowing. And like I said, if you desire to work with me in any capacity, then check the link below or reach out to me directly. I love you so much. Have the very best day.